At Riverside High School, things were usually peaceful in the sunny spring semester. Jennifer, a tall and athletic senior who stood at 5'11", had always been known for her commanding presence in the hallways. She came from a privileged background, lived in the wealthy part of town, and had never faced many challenges in her life. One ordinary Tuesday morning, she encountered Amara, a new transfer student who was significantly shorter and quieter. Amara kept to herself, mainly focusing on her studies and art projects. She had recently moved to the area with her family and was still adjusting to her new environment. The incident began in the cafeteria when Jennifer accidentally spilled her smoothie. Instead of apologizing, her embarrassment turned to anger when she heard a few students giggling. Assuming it was Amara who laughed, it wasn't. Jennifer confronted her aggressively. What Jennifer didn't know was that Amara's father wasn't just any parent. He was Judge Robert Thompson, recently appointed to the state Supreme Court and known for his work in civil rights and youth rehabilitation programs. He had chosen to keep a low profile in the community, wanting his daughter to have a normal high school experience. The tension between the girls escalated when Jennifer began spreading rumors about Amara. The whispers in the hallway grew louder, and small groups of students started taking sides. The school's atmosphere, once friendly and open, became charged with uncomfortable energy. Ms. Rodriguez, the observant school counselor, noticed the brewing conflict. She had seen similar situations before and knew that without intervention, things could quickly spiral out of control. However, her attempts to speak with Jennifer were met with polite dismissal. That Friday afternoon, as storm clouds gathered outside, Jennifer made a decision that would change multiple lives. Walking with her friends near the school gym, she spotted Amara sitting alone, sketching in her notebook. Jennifer felt a mix of emotions: superiority, insecurity, and a strange sense of power she didn't quite understand. Little did she know, the security cameras were recording everything, and the next few minutes would set in motion a chain of events that would shake the entire community. The afternoon that had started like any other was about to become a turning point in both girls' lives, revealing truths about privilege, prejudice, and the unseen connections that bind people together. As the first raindrops fell outside, Jennifer started walking toward Amara, her heart pounding with adrenaline, completely unaware that her next actions would not only change her life, but would also force her to confront uncomfortable truths about herself and her place in the world. The tension in the air was palpable, and students nearby could sense that something significant was about to unfold. Some pulled out their phones, while others hurried away, not wanting to be involved in whatever was about to happen. Nobody knew that this moment would soon become a powerful lesson about assumptions, consequences, and the importance of looking beyond surface appearances. As Jennifer walked towards Amara, the atmosphere around them grew heavier with each step. Students in the hallway stopped their conversations, sensing the brewing confrontation. The afternoon light filtered through the windows, casting long shadows across the polished school floors. "Hey, you!" Jennifer called out, her voice echoing in the now quiet hallway. Amara looked up from her sketchbook, her expression calm but cautious. She had dealt with bullies before at her old school and had learned that staying composed was often the best defense. "I've been watching you act like you're better than everyone else since you got here," Jennifer continued, towering over Amara's seated form. Her friends stood behind her, some looking uncomfortable but none brave enough to speak up. Amara closed her sketchbook slowly and stood up. "I don't want any trouble," she said quietly but firmly. "I think there's been a misunderstanding." But Jennifer wasn't interested in explanations. Months of built-up frustration from her own personal problems, her parents' divorce, dropping grades, and losing her spot as team captain, had found an unfortunate target in Amara. A small crowd had gathered now, forming a loose circle around them. Phone cameras were raised, their small red recording lights blinking silently. The school security guard, Mr. Chen, was unfortunately on the other side of the building, doing his regular rounds. "A misunderstanding." Jennifer laughed, but there was no humor in it. "The only misunderstanding is you thinking you can come to our school and act like you own the place." Amara took a deep breath, remembering her father's words about dignity and self-control. Judge Thompson had always taught her that true strength wasn't about physical power, but about maintaining your principles under pressure. "I think you're dealing with something else, Jennifer," Amara said calmly. "This isn't really about me, is it?" Those words struck a nerve. Jennifer felt her face flush with anger and embarrassment. How dare this new girl try to analyze her? Without thinking, she stepped forward and shoved Amara's shoulders hard. Amara stumbled backward but managed to keep her balance. The crowd gasped and someone shouted, "Stop it!" But Jennifer was past the point of listening. What happened next would be talked about in Riverside High for years to come. As Jennifer moved to push Amara again, something unexpected happened. Amara, who had taken self-defense classes since she was young, another thing Jennifer didn't know about her, smoothly sidestepped the attack. Jennifer, thrown off balance by her own momentum, stumbled forward. Amara didn't attack or retaliate. She simply moved out of the way, letting Jennifer's own aggressive action work against her. "Fight, fight." Someone in the crowd chanted, but Amara stood her ground, hands raised in a defensive position. "I don't want to fight you, Jennifer," she said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "But I will defend myself if I have to." The tension in the hallway was electric. Jennifer, embarrassed and enraged, turned to face Amara again. But before she could make another move, a sharp voice cut through the chaos. "What is going on here?" Ms. Rodriguez had arrived, drawn by the commotion. Behind her was Mr. Chen, the security guard, looking serious and concerned. The crowd of students immediately began to disperse, though many still lingered just within earshot. "My office. Both of you." "Now," Ms. Rodriguez commanded, her voice leaving no room for argument. As they walked to the counselor's office, Jennifer's anger began to mix with anxiety. She had never been in serious trouble before, and suddenly the reality of what she'd just done started to sink in. What neither girl knew was that this incident had already set larger wheels in motion. Several students had sent their video recordings to their parents. One of those parents was on the school board. Another was a local news reporter, and somewhere across town, Judge Thompson's phone was about to ring. The storm that had been threatening all afternoon finally broke, rain pelting against the windows of Ms. Rodriguez's office as both girls took their seats. Thunder rumbled in the distance, a fitting backdrop to the drama that was about to unfold. This second part builds tension while maintaining a focus on character development and the consequences of actions, avoiding any graphic violence or inappropriate content. The narrative continues to explore themes of conflict resolution and personal responsibility while keeping the audience engaged. Inside Ms. Rodriguez's office, the atmosphere was tense as both girls sat in silence. The rain continued to drum against the windows, and the occasional flash of lightning illuminated their faces. Ms. Rodriguez studied them both carefully before speaking. "I've been watching this situation develop for weeks," she began, her voice firm but caring. "And now it's reached a point where we can't ignore it anymore. Jennifer, would you like to explain what happened out there?" Jennifer shifted uncomfortably in her chair. The adrenaline had worn off, and now she felt foolish. She's been. Jennifer struggled to find a legitimate reason for her actions. When she finally spoke again, her voice was smaller. "I thought she was laughing at me earlier." Ms. Rodriguez turned to Amara. "And were you?" "No," Amara replied quietly. "I was actually admiring her basketball trophy in the display case. I used to play at my old school." This revelation caught Jennifer off guard. She hadn't expected that. Just then, there was a knock at the door. The school principal, Dr. Wong, entered with a serious expression. "Ladies, we have a situation. The incident was recorded and has already been shared widely among students and parents. I've received several concerned calls." Jennifer's stomach dropped. Her parents would find out. Her chances at a sports scholarship could be affected. Everything seemed to be crumbling around her. "Furthermore," Dr. Wong continued, "Judge Thompson is on his way to the school." Jennifer's face went pale. "Judge Thompson?" "My father," Amara said softly, meeting Jennifer's shocked gaze. The revelation hit Jennifer like a bucket of cold water. Judge Thompson was a legendary figure in their community, known for his fairness and work with troubled youth. She had just tried to bully his daughter. As if on cue, the office door opened again, and Judge Thompson walked in. He was tall and distinguished-looking, wearing a suit despite the rain. But what struck Jennifer most was the lack of anger in his eyes. Instead, she saw something that looked like concern. "Amara, are you all right?" he asked first, placing a gentle hand on his daughter's shoulder. I'm fine, Dad. Really, Amara assured him. The judge then turned to Jennifer, who felt herself shrinking in her chair. But what he said next surprised everyone in the room. Jennifer, isn't it? His voice was kind. I've actually seen you play basketball. You have remarkable talent. Tears started forming in Jennifer's eyes. This wasn't the reaction she had expected. The kindness was somehow worse than anger would have been. Jennifer started, then stopped as her voice cracked. I'm so sorry. I didn't know, but that shouldn't matter. I shouldn't have. You're right, Judge Thompson said. It shouldn't matter who anyone's father is. Every person deserves to be treated with respect. Dr. Wong cleared his throat. We need to discuss consequences. The school has a zero-tolerance policy for bullying. If I may, Judge Thompson interjected, I have a suggestion. I run a youth program at the community center. Perhaps instead of traditional punishment, Jennifer could volunteer there. Sometimes the best way to move forward is to give back to others. Ms. Rodriguez nodded thoughtfully. That could work, but there would need to be other components as well. Regular counseling sessions, for instance. As the adults discussed the path forward, Jennifer glanced at Amara, who had been quiet through most of the exchange. Their eyes met, and Jennifer saw no hatred there, just a willingness to understand. Outside, the storm was beginning to pass, and rays of late afternoon sunlight broke through the clouds. The light caught the tears on Jennifer's cheeks as she made a decision that would change her life. I want to make this right, she said, her voice stronger now. Not just because I have to, but because I need to. I've been taking my own problems out on others, and that stops today. Judge Thompson smiled slightly. That's a good place to start, Jennifer. Recognition is the first step toward change. As they continued to discuss the details of Jennifer's redemption path, the tension in the room gradually eased. This wasn't an ending, but rather a beginning. A chance for growth, understanding, and real change. The videos of the incident would still circulate, the gossip would still spread, but something unexpected was already happening. A story that could have been about conflict was becoming one about transformation. The following weekend marked Jennifer's first day at the community center. The building was older but well-maintained, with colorful murals decorating its walls. As she walked in, her stomach was in knots. Word of what happened had spread through social media, and she'd spent the past few days avoiding everyone's stares at school. Judge Thompson was waiting in the main hall, dressed casually in jeans and a polo shirt, a stark contrast to his courtroom appearance. Good morning, Jennifer. Ready to get started? She nodded nervously, following him through the building. The sound of children laughing echoed from somewhere nearby. They passed a basketball court where kids of various ages were playing, and Jennifer felt a familiar ache. She hadn't touched a basketball since the incident. First, let me show you what we do here, Judge Thompson said, leading her to a large room filled with tables. Young children were working on homework while teenagers helped them. Many of these kids come from challenging backgrounds. Some have parents working multiple jobs, others are struggling with their studies. Everyone here has a story. One little girl looked up and waved excitedly at Judge Thompson. Mr. T, can you help me with my math? In a moment, he smiled, then turned to Jennifer. That's your first assignment. Laomi's been having trouble with fractions. Jennifer froze. I'm not sure I'm good enough at math to help. You're a basketball player, right? Judge Thompson asked. Don't you calculate angles and trajectories every time you take a shot? That's mathematics in action. His words gave her pause. She'd never thought about it that way. As Jennifer sat down next to Lily, she noticed Amara entering the room with art supplies. Their eyes met briefly, and Amara gave a small, encouraging nod before heading to another table where several kids were waiting to start an art project. The afternoon unfolded in unexpected ways. Jennifer discovered she actually could explain fractions when she related them to basketball scores and game statistics. Lily's face lit up when she finally understood, and something warm stirred in Jennifer's chest, pride, but different from what she felt after winning a game. During a break, she watched Amara teaching kids how to draw. One boy was getting frustrated with his picture, but Amara's gentle encouragement kept him trying. Jennifer realized she'd never actually seen this side of Amara before, patient, kind, and quietly confident. It's something, isn't it? Judge Thompson's voice startled her from her thoughts. He'd appeared beside her, watching the scene. How easy it is to misjudge people when we don't know their whole story. Jennifer felt shame creeping up again, but the judge continued, "You know, I made plenty of mistakes when I was young. The important thing isn't that we make mistakes, it's what we learn from them." A commotion from the basketball court caught their attention. Two boys were arguing over a foul call, their voices getting louder. "Why don't you handle this one?" Judge Thompson suggested. Jennifer hesitated, then walked over to the court. The boys fell silent as she approached, obviously recognizing her from the viral videos. "Hey guys," she said, her voice shakier than she wanted. "Instead of arguing, why don't I show you both a technique for improving your defensive stance? That way, there won't be any question about fouls next time." To her surprise, both boys nodded eagerly. Soon she was demonstrating proper footwork, and other kids gathered around to learn too. For the first time in days, Jennifer felt like herself again, not the bully from the video, but the person she wanted to be. Later, as the afternoon wound down, Amara approached her. Jennifer tensed, but Amara simply said, "Some of the younger kids have been asking if you could teach them basketball basics. We could do a combined art and sports program on Saturdays. They could learn basketball from you, then cool down with some drawing lessons from me." The olive branch was so unexpected that Jennifer felt tears threatening again. "Why are you being so nice to me? After what I did?" "Because," Amara replied thoughtfully, "change only happens when people give each other the chance to be better. My dad taught me that." As Jennifer gathered her things to leave, she paused to look back at the community center. The setting sun cast long shadows through the windows, but unlike the shadows on the day of the incident, these felt different, like the shadows of the person she was leaving behind. Judge Thompson caught her eye and smiled knowingly. This was just the beginning of a long journey, but for the first time since everything happened, Jennifer felt something she hadn't expected to feel: hope. Weeks passed at the community center, and each Saturday brought new lessons for Jennifer. This particular morning was different. She and Amara were launching their joint sports and art program, something that still felt surreal given where their relationship had started. The gym was filled with excited chatter as kids of all ages gathered, some clutching basketballs, others holding sketchbooks. Jennifer stood at the center, her confidence growing as she saw familiar faces from her previous sessions. "Remember when you couldn't even look at me?" Amara whispered it as she set up her art supplies nearby. "Now look at us. Co-teachers." Jennifer smiled, but before she could respond, a new face caught her attention. A tall girl, probably 13 or 14, stood awkwardly by the door, her body language screaming discomfort. Jennifer recognized that look. It was the same one she'd seen in her own mirror not too long ago. "I'll be right back," she told Amara, walking over to the newcomer. "Hey there, I'm Jennifer. First time here." The girl nodded, avoiding eye contact. "I'm Ashley. My mom made me come. She saw some video online about this program." She trailed off, and Jennifer's heart skipped a beat. Of course, that video was still out there. "Well, you know what?" Jennifer said, taking a deep breath. "That video you probably saw, that was me at my worst moment, but it's also why I'm here now. Sometimes our biggest mistakes lead us to better places." Ashley finally looked up, surprise crossing her face. "You're that girl? But you seem so different." "That's because I'm different. And you know what helped change me? This place. These kids. And especially that girl over there." Jennifer pointed to Amara, who was helping a young boy set up an easel. "The same girl I tried to hurt is now one of my closest friends." The morning unfolded into organized chaos. Jennifer taught basic dribbling skills while Amara showed the kids how to sketch figures in motion. They had planned it so that the activities complemented each other, learning about movement through both sport and art. During a water break, Judge Thompson stopped by to observe. He watched as Jennifer patiently showed a young girl how to improve her shooting form, her touch gentle and encouraging. "You know," he said to Jennifer when she came over for water, "the video of what happened that day is still one of the most viewed in our community's social media history." Jennifer felt her face heat up, but the judge continued, "However, I think it's time for a new video to take its place. One that shows what happened after." He nodded toward where Ashley was now helping a younger kid with their basketball stance, mirroring exactly what Jennifer had shown her earlier. Stories of transformation are powerful, Jennifer. They show people that change is possible. Later that afternoon, as they were cleaning up, Amara approached Jennifer with her phone. "Look at this," she said, showing a social media post. Someone had taken a photo of Jennifer and Ashley working with the younger kids, side by side with Amara's art session. The caption read, "Real change happens in unexpected ways. Proud of our community center heroes." Heroes? Jennifer scoffed, but her voice wavered. "I'm just trying to make up for what I did." "And that's exactly what makes it heroic," Amara replied. "You could have just done your required hours and left. Instead, you're here every weekend, showing up, making a difference." As they finished cleaning, a small girl tugged at Jennifer's sleeve. It was Lily from her first day. "Can you come back tomorrow?" she asked hopefully. "I have more math homework, and you explain it the best." Jennifer knelt down to Lily's level. "I have my own homework tomorrow, but I'll be back next Saturday. Promise." Walking home that evening, Jennifer passed the spot where she used to hang out with her old friends. They hadn't spoken much since the incident. Some had drifted away, uncomfortable with her changes. But as she watched the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors, she realized she didn't miss that old life as much as she thought she would. Her phone buzzed with a message from Amara. "Next week, basketball portraits. We could teach them about action shots." Jennifer smiled, typing back her response. Sometimes the best friendships come from the most unlikely places, and the worst moments can lead to the most beautiful changes. As summer approached, Riverside High was buzzing with end-of-year activities. Jennifer stood in the hallway where everything had changed months ago, but now she was pinning up posters for the community center's summer program. The same students who had once filmed her lowest moment now stopped to ask about signing up as volunteers. The morning announcements crackled over the speakers, but today was different. "Attention students," Dr. Wan's voice echoed through the halls. "We're proud to announce that our school has been selected for the State Board of Education's Community Impact Award, thanks to the successful youth program partnership initiated by 2 of our students." Jennifer felt her face flush as heads turned toward her. Amara, who was helping with the posters, bumped her shoulder playfully. "Look at you getting all shy now. Remember when you used to love attention?" "Yeah, but this is different," Jennifer replied, smoothing a poster's corner. "This attention feels earned." During lunch break, Ms. Rodriguez called them both to her office. The counselor's desk, usually neat, was covered with papers and photographs. "Girls, we're putting together a presentation for the award ceremony. We'd like you both to speak about your experience." Jennifer's stomach tightened. "Speak? In front of everyone?" "Yes," Ms. Rodriguez smiled. "Your story has already inspired so many. The community center has seen record volunteer sign-ups, and incidents of bullying at school have dropped significantly." As they left the office, Ashley, the girl from the community center, ran up to them. "Jennifer, Amara, guess what? I made the basketball team, and I'm joining art club next year." Jennifer caught Amara's eye, both of them grinning. This was what real victory felt like. That afternoon at the community center, Judge Thompson gathered everyone for an announcement. The usual chaos of basketballs bouncing and art supplies rattling quieted down as he spoke. "Thanks to the success of our programs, we've received a grant to expand," he announced. "We'll be able to renovate the old warehouse next door for a proper sports complex and art studio." Cheers erupted, but he wasn't finished. "And we'd like Jennifer and Amara to help design the new space, since they're largely responsible for this growth." Later, as they sat planning in the quiet center after everyone had left, Jennifer looked at the wall of artwork the kids had created: action shots of basketball players, portraits of their friends, scenes from their Saturday sessions. Each piece told a story of connection and growth. "You know what's weird?" Jennifer said, breaking the comfortable silence. "If you had told me 6 months ago that my biggest mistake would lead to all this, I would have thought you were crazy." Amara looked up from her sketch of the new complex. "Sometimes life's best moments come disguised as its worst. My dad always says that." "Your dad?" Jennifer chuckled. "I still can't believe I tried to." She trailed off, shaking her head. "Tried to bully the judge's daughter." Amara finished with a smile. "Yeah, not your smartest move. But look where it got us." The sound of a basketball bouncing interrupted them. Ashley had stayed behind, practicing her shots in the dim light. Each bounce echoed through the empty center, a rhythm that seemed to underscore how much had changed. "She reminds me of you," Amara said softly. "Not the old you, the real you. The one who was always there, just waiting for a chance to come out." Jennifer watched as Ashley made shot after shot, her form perfect, the same form Jennifer had taught her. "We should invite her to help with the new complex design. She practically lives here now anyway." As they packed up for the day, Judge Thompson stopped by. He looked at the preliminary sketches and nodded approvingly. "You know, when I first suggested this program as an alternative to punishment, I had no idea it would grow into this." "Neither did we," Jennifer admitted, "but I'm glad it did." Outside, the summer sunset painted the sky in shades of promise. Parents were arriving to pick up the few remaining kids, and Jennifer could hear proud voices sharing artwork and basketball achievements. "Oh," Amara remembered suddenly, "don't forget, we need to practice our speech for the award ceremony. Want to work on it this weekend?" Jennifer nodded, then paused. "Actually, I think I know exactly what I want to say. Because sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that start with a mistake and end with a miracle." And as Jennifer looked around at everything they'd built, the friendships, the programs, the changes in themselves and others, she realized that's exactly what this was, a small miracle, born from a moment that could have destroyed everything, but instead had built something beautiful. On the day of the award ceremony, the school auditorium was packed. Parents, students, teachers, and community members filled every seat. Large photographs from the community center lined the walls, kids playing basketball, creating art, studying together, each one telling part of their story. Jennifer stood backstage, smoothing her dress for the 100th time. Through the curtain, she could see her parents sitting in the front row. Her mother was dabbing at her eyes already, and the ceremony hadn't even started. "Nervous?" Amara appeared beside her, looking elegant in her blue dress. Terrified, Jennifer admitted, "What if they still see me as that girl from the video?" "Then show them who you are now," Amara said simply. Dr. Wong's voice came through the microphone, welcoming everyone. After a brief introduction about the importance of community and transformation, he called Judge Thompson to the stage. The judge adjusted his tie and smiled at the audience. 6 months ago, a video went viral in our community. Many of you probably saw it. It showed a moment of conflict, a mistake that could have defined 2 young lives forever. But today, we're here to celebrate what happened after that video stopped recording. He gestured toward the side of the stage. "Please welcome Jennifer and Amara." The spotlight felt warm as Jennifer walked to the podium, her heart pounding. She looked out at the sea of faces. There was Ashley with her family, Lily from the math sessions, all the kids from the community center. She took a deep breath and began. "Most of you know me as the girl from that video," she started, her voice shaking slightly. "The tall girl who let anger and insecurity turn her into someone she wasn't proud of. But that's not my whole story." She looked at Amara, who nodded encouragingly. "My story really began after that video ended. It began when Judge Thompson offered me a chance to make things right. It began when Amara, the person I had tried to hurt, showed me what real strength looks like, the strength to forgive, to help others grow." Jennifer went on to describe their journey, the community center, the combined programs, the lives they'd touched. As she spoke, her voice grew stronger. "Today, that viral video isn't just a reminder of my mistake. It's proof that our worst moments don't have to define us. They can be the beginning of our best moments." Amara stepped forward then, joining her at the podium. "What Jennifer isn't saying is how many lives she's changed. Every weekend, she shows up. She teaches, she listens, she encourages. She turned a moment of darkness into years of light for so many kids." From the audience, Ashley stood up. "She helped me find my confidence," she called out. Then Lily stood. "She taught me math using basketball." More kids started standing, each sharing how Jennifer and Amara had impacted their lives. Tears streamed down Jennifer's face now, but she didn't try to hide them. These were different tears from the ones she'd shed in Ms. Rodriguez's office months ago. These were tears of gratitude, of joy, of redemption. As they concluded their speech, Judge Thompson returned to the stage to present the award. But before he did, he had one more announcement. The state board was so impressed with our program that they're implementing similar initiatives across the state. What started as one moment between two students will now help thousands. The applause was deafening. Jennifer felt Amara squeeze her hand as they accepted the award together. Looking out at the audience, she saw Ms. Rodriguez beaming proudly, Dr. Wong nodding in approval, and her parents holding each other, crying happy tears. After the ceremony, as people mingled and congratulated them, Jennifer overheard a young student ask their parent, "Is that the girl from the video?" But now, that question had a different answer. Yes, she was the girl from the video. The girl who learned that it's never too late to change your story. The girl who discovered that sometimes your biggest mistakes can lead to your greatest purpose. The girl who found out that true strength isn't about physical power, but about the courage to become better than you were yesterday. As the evening wound down, Jennifer and Amara stood outside the auditorium, looking at the stars appearing in the darkening sky. "You know what?" Jennifer said softly. "I'm actually grateful for that day now. Not proud of what I did, but grateful for where it led." "Sometimes the worst chapters of our lives can become the bridge to our best ones," Amara replied, echoing her father's wisdom once again. And as they walked back inside to join their families and celebrate, both girls knew that while their viral video moment might have captured their worst day, it had also become the first page of their best story. A story that was still being written, touching lives, and changing their community one day at a time.